party people. Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, where the gaming table is always set for two. I am your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week I am joined by Ian Johnson, host of Crit Heads, a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition actual play podcast that you can find at soundcloud.com/critheads, for a game of Kevin Crawford's Godbound. Godbound is a game of legends, demigods, and epic-level adventurers. Heroes imbued with the literal words of creation. The game explores not only their adventures, but how their existence shapes and recasts the entire world around them, and how the world reacts to these epic, massive, powerful figures. It's extremely cool. You can find more information about Godbound and Crit Heads in the show notes. Before we dive in, a brief moment to thank Keno, our newest backer on Patreon. Ken, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to back the show on Patreon, Patreon dollars pay for equipment costs, hosting fees, convention appearances, etc., and so on. You can find all of that at patreon.com/partyofonepodcast. Also, before we dive in, we have a brief message from one of our sponsors this week. Enjoy! Hello, friends. Jeff Stormer here to talk to you about eggnog. I love eggnog. In fact, I love it so much I started a podcast about it. Talking Nog is a yearly tradition honoring a yearly tradition. We take listener questions, look at listener photos, talk to the people on the front lines of the home nogging movement, and if I do say so myself, have a little fun along the way. I hope you'll join us at soundcloud.com/talkingnog or on Twitter at talkingnogcast. And if you have any Nog-themed questions via text or audio, or a photo of you enjoying a fresh, creamy glass of Nog, you can submit them to talkingnog@aol.com. Thanks for listening. Talk to you real soon. And cheers. And, with all that out of the way, let's throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. This week I am sitting down with Ian Johnson. Ian, thank you for coming on Party of One.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jeff.
So, at the top of the show, if there's anything you would like the audience at home to know about, why don't you take a moment and tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. So I am actually the DM for another tabletop RPG podcast called Crit Heads. We just play 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons and don't really take it too seriously. But it's me and 3 players, and it's pretty fun. We're actually I'm not sure exactly when this episode of Party of One is going up, but very soon we're releasing kind of a story so far episode that'll kind of help people get caught up. So now's actually a good time to jump on. But yeah, that's about all I got.
Cool. Well, this week we are playing Kevin Crawford's Godbound. I'm extremely excited about it. Kevin Crawford's Scarlet Heroes is one of my favorite games, and so this one actually really just seems dope as hell. So I'm really excited to get into it. So,
no, I had a lot of fun building my character for this, so I'm very excited to finally get to play him.
Yeah, it's speaking of your character, why don't you introduce us to your character this week?
Okay, so my character is named Kevyn, the Totally Rad Party Wizard. And don't let the name fool you. I am taking this very seriously. So Kevyn was born to a farmer. I believe he was the 7th son and the last one to survive, because this is God's Fall is a very bleak world, as I understand it. But as he got older, he developed his gifts and found that he could kind of control the emotions of people, and started being able to just produce wealth out of thin air. And so after living kind of a drab life as a farmer's son, he is now taken to traveling across the land, throwing huge, lavish parties, and spreading joy and merriment, at least in his own eyes.
Excellent. I'm really excited. This is going to be very fun. Okay, so if you don't have any other questions, I am ready to dive in.
Yeah, let's do it.
So our story begins with Kevyn, the Totally Rad Party Wizard, on the road. You have just left one of your legendary lavish parties. There is trash and refuse scattered about, and you are long gone.
Yeah, no, cleanup's not my duty.
Yeah, right. We catch Kevyn on the road. You have heard tale of a place that you simply have to see for yourself and simply have to... It's simply begging for a party. You have heard of the town... You have heard tale of the town of Forge Smith for months. You know, you've been hearing these reports of, like, how wealthy the people of Forge Smith are and how the town has really become an economic powerhouse in recent months, and how, like, it came from a fairly small town primarily exporting, like, blacksmithed goods, you know, artisan-made stuff, to this really, like, epic economic cornerstone of the region. And
the home of industry.
Exactly. And really, what better place to party than with a place with all of that money and all of that, like, power and wealth? It just feels like the place to party. Yeah, nah, dude, Kevin's got to get there. I like to imagine that Kevyn already has like he's got a little journal, and he's already been kind of writing down some of his plans for the party when he gets to Forge Smith. Like, this is like what he's been working towards. Like, this is going to be the rager to end all ragers. Yeah, absolutely. So, you've been traveling in this direction for a while now. You know, you've been moving, you've been planning, and today is the day. Today is the day that you and your caravan arrives in Forge Smith. We see... are you traveling alone? Do you have a posse? What's your situation like? Yeah, I like to imagine I'd have some kind of entourage, probably a few hangers-on. Kevin's kind of aloof, doesn't make a lot of personal connections since he's always on the move, but he is so magnetic that people just kind of follow him wherever he goes. So I don't imagine it's necessarily a posse that he's particularly, like, ride or die for. Right. Actually, you know what? I imagine he'd have, like, one good friend in there. Let's call him Chucky. My good friend Chucky. He's like my right-hand man. Yeah. So we see you and a few other wagons and a few other people on horses roll into town on one of these big main roads right off of a bridge over a river, and you arrive in Forge Smith, the town of 1,000 smiths. And you look around, and your eyes are beaming at all of the potential and the parties and the smokestacks and the... I gotta put on my shutter shades because this town's too bright. Yeah, you've got your shutter shades on and you're ready, and you look up and you're like, yeah, smokestacks, yeah, factories, and yeah. No, you know, you look at that and you think, you know, at first you think, maybe not the best place to party, but actually the thing is all of the best parties are like secret underground warehouse and factory raves. This is true. So I'm actually eyeing out locales among these factories and smokestacks where I think a good place to set up would be. In fact, let's make that our first roll. Let's make a roll for as you're surveying, looking for places to party. Excellent. All right, is this a D20? Yes. Oh, dang. Good. We got an 18 on the die. All right. I think low is good here, so that's going to be fun. Nope, it isn't. It is. You are good. You do want high. High rolls are good. Okay. So am I adding anything to that roll? Let me double check. I think you might add 4 to this. Do you have a fact that would help you with this task? We're going to call this a wisdom roll that is, you know, surveying the area, looking for where you would throw a party. Yeah, I don't know that I would have a fact. I don't know that I would have a fact necessarily to assist with this one. A lot of my facts dealt more with kind of where I was from, and now that I'm more out and about in the world, I feel like I don't think there's anything that would particularly help me in this endeavor. So yeah, you're surveying the area, and you do notice a few very large empty warehouses that would be perfect for a rager of a rave. Primo choices. Yeah, what you're not noticing though is the people that are going to stock that rave. the streets seem way more empty than a town this, like, prosperous should be. You know, you'd expect people to be kind of out and about, you know, enjoying their wealth and enjoying their lives, but, like, it's very empty. And, you know, you're the wagons and the horses are kind of echoing across the hall, or across, like, the streets and the buildings.
I like to imagine we have some music playing through some device on one of the wagons that's just echoing through these empty streets as well.
And it's very ominous, is the word I would describe it.
Yeah. Hey, Chucky, this place seems kind of dead.
Yeah, it does. Supposed to be real nice. Buildings all look new. I don't know what the deal is.
Is there anybody around? Like somebody that I can go up to?
Yeah, there are a few people in like workers' clothes, like not unitards, but like like work clothes. Yeah, you know, work clothes.
Okay, so there's some workers.
Yeah, there are some workers, like, pushing things of coal and, like, moving back and forth with big boxes and things, doing work tasks. And they sort of, you know, you see them kind of leave from one factory door carrying boxes and go into another factory door.
Okay. I'm going to approach one of the workers. I want to just kind of ask him for the lay of the land here.
There is a worker by sort of the river. There's a small dock into one of the factories, and the worker is sort of doing the Law and Order, take boxes from the boat on the river and hand them to another guy, and he's not stopping to talk to you, but
so is he like completely ignoring me?
No, he kind of like
as I try to
he looks over in your direction, but he's still moving the boxes.
Okay, I gotcha. I go, yo, what's up, dude? Actually, hold on, I'm gonna turn my gain on the mic down just a little bit. Okay. I walk up to him and I'm like, yo, what's going on, dude? This seems like a pretty dead part of town, huh?
No, this is the town square. This is sort of, where the magic happens, and he kind of hands off another particularly heavy box. And the boxes just keep coming. Like, there's a surprising number of boxes on this boat.
What is he unloading there, man?
Screws. We need screws to make the machines, to make the widgets. And then eventually we make the horseshoes.
Okay.
It's a process. Can I help you with something?
Like,
what's your job? Are you here to deliver something?
Oh, well, no. I mean, surely you've heard of me. I'm Kevyn, the totally rad party wizard.
Make me a charisma roll for that.
Let's see. We got an 8 on the dice. +1 for my charisma, yeah. So a 9.
All right, yeah, you got it effortlessly. He kind of he's moving a box, and when you finish saying party wizard, he drops the box and it shatters, and like screws go everywhere. And he kind of like looks around for a minute, and he's like, he has to grab a broom, and now he's like desperately sweeping up, and he's like, "But you're not part of the. Did you sell out?"
Did you just call me a sellout, man?
No, I'm asking, did you sell out? We're not. Did they fly you in? What happened? Why are you here?
I'm here because I'm here to spread joy and to throw a party. And honestly, this looks like it might be my most important mission yet. I'd heard that Forge Smith was off the frickin' chain. I come here, it's just a bunch of Johnny Workhards unloading boxes all day.
Well, and he kind of looks back and forth, and he leans in, and he says, "Lay low. For you, by your standards, lay low, and meet me here after dark." And he kind of looks over his shoulder, and you see two large gray-looking gentlemen kind of looming and kind of like coming out of a door and kind of looming over the three of you, Chucky and Johnny Workhard, which is actually his name, and it is very impressive that you guessed that.
I just know that's my special gift. I just know everybody's name right off the top of my head.
So he kind of like he gets right back up to sweeping, and he's like, "Hey, if you're not working, you should head to the designated break rooms."
I kind of quietly whisper. I'm like, are those your bosses?
That's and he kind of mouths at you, security.
Okay. All right. Got it. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'll be back here tonight. I will see you then, my dude. And I hand him a signed 5x7 portrait of myself.
He gets real excited and then folds it up real small and puts it in his chest pocket and is like real excitedly sweeping. And these big stony looking dudes, descend back into the factory. And you're left fairly by yourself.
What do I want to... What would Kevyn do? Well, he'd probably start drinking. That would be the first thing. I think I would probably just wait it out. Just kind of hang with my posse for a little bit, and then once it gets dark, go to meet up with this dude. I tell everybody, like... I imagine my posse's getting a little antsy, but we find somewhere to like set up, and I'm like, guys, just don't even worry about it. Just chill. I'm going to get us the hookup. We got a fan on the inside. It's going to be tight. And once night falls, I will head to the designated meeting spot with Johnny Workhard.
Yeah, you're hanging out with the wagons. You have quite literally circled the wagons for the day, and you notice a few more of these, like, stony guards come out of buildings, and one of them just stands there and, like, watches and doesn't move the entire day. It's just perfectly still. And a few more of them come out and, like, look through windows, and you see them they're just keeping an eye on you. You're not from around here. They don't super like that.
That's fair.
Night falls. You're back at the docks. Johnny is wearing a cloak pulled very low, and he's looking around, and you see him peek out from behind some boxes, some big industrial crates, and he kind of gestures you over.
Okay. I nonchalantly stride over. Johnny, my man.
You're quiet. They are watching right now. It is after curfew. It is the night shift. We are on rest.
Okay. I want to impress that Kevyn is seemingly entirely unconcerned by Johnny's kind of hesitance, and is not really sharing his sense of subtlety in this particular moment.
Sure. And he's like, keep it down. We are on rest. We are off shift. And if they catch us, there will be consequences.
If who catches us? The security?
Yeah. If security catches us, there will be consequences.
What kind of consequences? For partying? For letting loose a little bit?
Yeah, that's actually a really good way to put it. Yes, for cutting loose, and you're not from around here, and he kind of walks you through. He kind of gestures to guide you back through an alleyway, where he opens a door into a warehouse.
Okay.
One of the warehouses you saw earlier, a killer rager warehouse.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna get in there and scope that out.
There are about a half a dozen workers kind of crouched around a table. There's a map of the town on the table. There's a few candles. It is very quiet. Your footsteps are echoing. And he kind of walks you over.
Don't worry, boys. The party has arrived. To the rest of the group.
Everybody immediately perks up. They're like, oh my god, he's actually Wow, by the Emperor. He's actually here. I can't... Wow, this is... We're gonna get in a lot of trouble. Yeah, we're gonna get in a lot of trouble. Oh, this is gonna be trouble.
Nah. There's no trouble.
They seem equally distraught and delighted. Right in that middle zone.
Yeah. I go, guys. Now look, You may forget, I come from the atheocracy of Lam. All right, if there's anybody that doesn't want you to party, it's those guys. So, I'm all about, throwing a party when the man upstairs don't want you to. So, don't even worry about it.
And everybody, as soon as you say the man upstairs, everybody like tenses as though they're about to be shot. It's just like, okay, it's okay, it's all good. Johnny kind of puts his hand on your shoulder. He's like, so, we should probably fill you in on the details.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard anything about... And he looks over his shoulder, make sure that door is closed, and make sure that they've barred the other side of it so nobody can push in that door.
Mm-hmm.
The Emperor of Efficiency.
Sorry, the Emperor of Efficiency.
You say it again, it is a gunshot. Everybody's like,
That sounds like a real wet blanket.
To say the least. Used to be that this town was productive. We were artisans. We were artists. There was art. Then he came in and he was said he could make things faster, make things more efficient. It was in his name. We believed it. And to his credit, things got way faster, way quicker, and before he knew it, we were this. And he gestures to the warehouse. And he's like, it was awesome. And then he didn't stop. Just kind of kept being that we needed to be that little bit faster and that little bit more efficient. And now we're all on shifts. We sleep on shifts. We work on shifts.
And to clarify, there is not a party shift.
There is no party shift.
Okay, this may be the greatest crime against all of humanity that I have ever encountered in my travels.
We hoped you would say that. And they all kind of stand out, revealing that they've got swords and crowbars and various other... They don't have swords. They have crowbars. One of them's got a mop. They've got the weapons that they could gather.
Excellent. I will pull out of my robe as they draw their weapons. I have a baseball bat.
Perfect.
It's essentially a club. It's got party foul engraved in it in the wood. And I'll raise that in solidarity with them. I'm like, so what's the plan? You have a plan.
Everybody's like faces are frozen in that
Okay, forget I said that. The best plans are made on the fly. Where is this Emperor dude?
Everybody's faces are still very much frozen in
Okay, I kind of drop the baseball bat to my side. I'm like, guys, you got to give me something to work with here.
We had hoped that maybe you would give us things. We've kind of, our movement has sort of limited and localized to a sort of a smallish area that is, and they look at the door. About to there.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's think about this for a second then. So, we need to get to the Emperor dude, but he's got security. We've seen the security dudes. We probably know where they are, right?
Yeah, they're around. They patrol. They're easy enough to get to come to you if you, slack off or chew gum.
All right. Well, security probably knows where the Emperor is. Can I call him Emperor Assface? Is everybody cool with that?
Yeah. One dude is
cool.
knee
Emperor
slapping.
Okay. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm going to infiltrate security. Okay, I'm good at sneaking around places I'm not supposed to be. I will find out where this dude is in security. Then we can all get together. I can go get my crew. We'll roll up on this dude and we'll just take it from there. Man, we'll just go with the flow. Like I said, best plans are made on the fly.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, this is going to go great. And that's when the door gets kicked in.
Okay. Who has kicked in the door?
They, about a half a dozen. These are not the security guards that you saw. These are workers with nightsticks. These are sort of haphazard workers, but about a half a dozen workers and one security guard have sort of torn down the door with clubs and crowbars. And your new posse has more or less scattered to hiding places.
Okay. I think I'm going to use one of my words at this point. I'm going to commit effort and use my my word of passion to fashion a friend. It allows me to beguile a visible creature, inspiring it to feelings of friendship and cooperativeness towards me. Mm-hmm. It will not question these feelings, however irrational, and they will persist until I obviously betray it or do it blatant harm. So I'm going to use this on the security guard specifically.
Okay.
Because I think if I can get him to be my friend, these workers will probably follow his lead.
He is kind of clunking towards you with a sort of mechanical, unliving march, and you invoke it, and suddenly he is filled with life. Suddenly, his unblinking gaze, he blinks, and it's weird because he didn't have eyelids until a moment ago, and he blinks, and he looks at his hands, and he's like, oh, huh.
I say to the group of my ragtag posse from before these guys busted in, I go, it's cool. This guy's with me now, right, buddy?
Yeah, I am alive. That's weird. But yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, we're cool. You and me, man. Totally.
Yeah.
The mob is mob is not shaken though. Like they are imbued with an anger and an unshaking belief in the law that teeters on otherworldly. As they try to bum rush but oddly enough, they initially ignore you as they kind of try to move past you to get to your friends.
I go, guys. I'm talking to the intruders at this point. I go, come on, there's no need for all of this, okay? We're just trying to blow off a little steam, okay? You can't have efficiency if you don't blow off steam, all right? In machines, if you hold all that steam in, they blow up, right? You gotta let it out. Otherwise, that's not very efficient, is it, guys?
Make me a charisma check for this. As one of them stops and like turns to you as the others run, and the posse is like fighting them off with brooms and crowbars, and one of them stops and says, "There is a designated 8-hour relaxation period every single day. The Emperor has deemed this the most efficient time for recharging batteries. We do exercises. We read inspirational books. It is designated time."
I got a nat 1 on that there charisma check. So I probably imagine that I go, that sounds lame as shit, dude. And then I didn't. He's not picking up what I'm laying down at all.
So I think what happens in that case is the thing that makes the situation way more chaotic is this intruder is getting real up in your face about it, and you're kind of shoved aside as a big stone fist caves in his face.
Oh, I go, damn, Chappie, what was that about? It was, whoo, you're a strong one, aren't you? Okay.
Apparently I am. I'm strong. This is fun.
I say to the other people that intrude, I go, hey, if you don't want to get your skulls caved in by my robot friend here, then I would maybe sit on your hands right now.
The place erupts in a brawl. It is workers fighting off guards. It is Chappie punching people sort of indiscriminately. There's at least one moment where you kind of have to be like, no, as he almost takes down Johnny Workhard. It is a brawl.
Okay. I've been to worse parties. I like to imagine that I would actually probably pull out my flask and just kind of start like bobbing my head a little bit as I'm watching all of this go down. If somebody comes at me, obviously I'll do something. I know there's like fray dice, right?
Yeah, roll me your fray dice for all of this.
Okay, yeah. Then I don't think I have anything that increases it. So we got a 4.
Okay, 4. Great. So what happens during this brawl is one of them runs at you, and how do you take him out?
I probably just take party foul, my trusty baseball bat, and I just, as he's kind of running at me, I try to sidestep and sort of just crack him on the head as he runs past.
Yep, exactly what happens, and he goes down hard. The fight eventually ends with your side taking advantage and then knocking out and taking out these interlopers. Everybody is tired, but the worrying thing now is that was very loud. So your next actions are going to be motivated because there's probably more security guards coming.
Okay. I'm gonna tell my posse. I'm gonna tell Johnny Workhard and the other workers, just scatter. Get back to where you need to be. The big event will probably be tomorrow night. I'll come round them up when I need them. I'm gonna keep my security guard buddy with me, but I'm just gonna tell the rest of the guys to get out of there. Me and my security guard guy are gonna go try and actually infiltrate and kind of learn a little bit more about what's going on and maybe where we need to go to put an end to this nonsense.
Yeah. Give me a... Hold on, you might not even need to. No, you don't even need to, because I was going to give you a +4 for having your friend, but that's going to be an automatic success. So, so you poke around a little bit. Chappie is remarkably excited to, tell you all of these things that he knows, because now he knows things, and this is all a very new experience for him. So he's, rattling off facts.
That's awesome. I like to imagine as he's giving me these facts, I'm also giving him, my party philosophy and, telling him why he should be living his life this way and all that. And, you just got to cut loose and all that.
So he's filling you in. He's sort of telling you, he kind of gives you the heads up on, where the, various ministry offices are, and he's like, here's where you can find internal affairs, and there's where you can find the secret police, and he's going through piece by piece, and he's just
secret police.
Yeah, the guys with the nightsticks. They're the secret police, and we're the security guards. It's a whole there's a whole relationship.
So those dudes weren't necessarily workers; they just look like workers. Okay, that's clever. What about the Emperor?
I don't...
Where's he hang out?
He says, I don't know exactly. This is kind of cool. I don't know a thing. I've never not known a thing before. That's cool. I don't really know for sure, but we have a pretty good idea because... And at that moment, he kind of pushes you against a wall, and you see several security guards accompanying maybe you see about 4 security guards accompanying a man in fine noble's gear that Chappie quietly identifies as the Minister of Agriculture. Like, climb into a wagon and climb into a wagon and ride off.
Can I run up to the wagon before they ride off?
Make me a dexterity roll.
Okay. I'm not very good at that. Let's see. So I rolled a 10 on the dice, and then I subtract 1, sorry, it's plus 1.
Yeah, great. You make it. You make it up effortlessly. Chappie tries to stop you, and is like, you gotta cut loose sometimes. That's what he says, and.
You're learning, Chappie. I yell back at him as I walk. I go, excuse me. Are you headed to the Emperor's by any chance?
He stares at you for a very long time and just says, "That information is classified."
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally understand. You might not recognize my face. I'm the Emperor's nephew. We go back a ways. This is my first time actually in Forge Smith. I'm trying to find his place, and nobody seems to know where it is. It's just so gosh dang efficient here. So yeah, I have Liar's Flawless Grace from my Word of Deception, which is a constant, which is that my lies can never be detected by magic or other special abilities, including those of the Deception Word, and lesser foes will always believe them unless they're completely implausible, emotionally intolerable, or would oblige them to self-harm.
Then yeah, I'm not going to ask for a roll. He simply believes your lie. And he's like, nephew? He never mentioned a nephew. He doesn't mention a lot of things. Yeah, come on, hop in.
Ah, thank you so much. This is my personal security attendant, Chappie. Come on, Chappie, catch up.
Now I'm going to ask for a charisma roll. Because you're going to have to cover for Chappie saying something unhelpful.
It's a 14.
You succeed, so what Chappie says, he says, "This is cool. I've never lied before."
I go, oh, Chappie, your language center's he's been messed up. He meant to say he's never been in a carriage before. He's just been getting words. Has that ever happened with any of your security golems? Like they get words mixed up for some reason?
He leans forward and he says, "No." And he looks Chappie hard in the eyes for a very long time, and Chappie is just giving him the brightest smile.
Well, I made some custom modifications in the mind work, so it might just been because I was tinking around up there. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, suppose that's probably what it is. You see him write down a few lines, and you get the sense that he has written down like the factory that engineered him. And he's like, I have to put an infraction on them. Normally, security guards shouldn't be faulty, but that's fine. And so the carriage with security guards on both sides rides off to a particularly unassuming looking, like one bed or tiny little building. You walk in the door, you go down a flight of stairs into a large, what looks like the war room from like Dr. Strangelove. So like a big round room, big round table in the front, whole big circle of chairs.
Is there anybody in this room right now?
Around you, ministers, people in nobles' robes walk past you. Kind of a few of them kind of shoulder check you because you're in their way. And they all start to take their seats, and from the farthest seat wheels around, and sitting in it is the oldest man that you've ever seen. Looks at least 100 to 150.
God, I hate old people.
He's cocked his fingers in front of his face, and he was just leaning forward, and he seems pleased, content with the world.
Okay. So does it look like there's like about a meeting or something about like a board meeting about?
Yeah, there's absolutely a board meeting about to happen. But everybody starts to take their seats, and now's when I get to reveal that I have spent some effort today.
Okay.
Yep, now I get to reveal that I spent some effort earlier. He leans forward and says, Kevyn, the totally rad party wizard.
Hey, what's up? I just kind of happily wave.
Pleasure to see you. Well, I should say, see you again. You see, one of the nice things about being the emperor of efficiency, and he gives it just the douchiest flourish.
I was gonna say, I give the biggest eye roll possible.
I see not merely through my eyes, but through the eyes of all of my lieutenants, through all of my security guards. When you first introduced yourself to Worker Work Hard and to secret policeman shove Johnny Work Hard through through a side door and point spears at him. One of my security guards watched the whole thing. Remarkable the gifts that you and I share.
Oh, you know a couple words yourself, huh?
A few. I fancy myself among the arts of artifice, and as you can see, command comes naturally to me, and, well, what is efficiency without time? Yes, I have a few art forms that I practice.
Well, look, we could go through this big rigmarole and try and fight each other about this, or we could just, have a conversation. Look, just hear me out for a second, okay? This world, it's gone to shit, man. I mean, everywhere you go, people are dying, everybody's miserable, it sucks. And here's the thing. You're all about efficiency.
Indeed, I am.
It's not efficient to run the people. May I remind you that these are, in fact, people that you are working. It's not efficient to work them into the ground, all right? You don't run your carriage on the roads for so long that it falls apart, because then you have to replace the whole new carriage. Instead of spending all of that money replacing the carriage, if you just do a little bit of maintenance, give it some rest, let it have a few drinks, smoke some weed. Who knows, Then that way, I think that metaphor got a little bit away from me. Not important. The point I'm trying to make here is that you're wrong. This isn't the most efficient. You need to let these people let off some steam, or they're going to explode, or worse, for you, they're going to turn on you and kill you in your sleep.
He leans forward a little bit and he says two things. One, every worker is given an 8-hour rest period in which they are encouraged to pursue exercise and self-help books. It is a scientifically proven way to recharge the mind for a healthy and efficient worker. Two, no one here questions me. Anybody that would like to take my place and would like to kill me and usurp my throne right now, please stand up. Crickets.
I look at Johnny Workhard and I'm like, really, man? Not even you?
He's the boss.
All right, Emperor Assface. You know who I am. You've got me here. Clearly, I've fallen into your quote-unquote trap. So what do you want with me?
And he kind of leans back. He says, leave. I don't like your style. I don't like parties. They are a waste of time and resources. We don't need parties here. We need efficiency and labor and hard work and ingenuity. Parties are frilly things for foolhardy people. We have no use for them here.
I lean forward over the table and I say, efficiency is bullshit and partying is awesome. And a bit of there's some magical weight in my words. I'm going to use one of my greater gifts from the word of deception, the conviction of error. So I'm going to go ahead and expend my other effort here that I have. All chosen targets, which I will choose pretty much everybody in the room, become convinced that one of their beliefs of my choice, that efficiency is the way to go, is actually a terrible lie that has been imposed upon them. So worthy foes get a spirit saving throw.
All right.
And they can reconsider this conviction once the effort is reclaimed, but will do so only under great pressure of emotions or obvious facts.
And I would call that exactly great pressure, given that the word of a Godbound is coming upon them. So I'm going to roll. So I think what happens next is the various ministers start, they sit there for a second and they kind of scoff at first, and then it's the Minister of Trade opens up a thing and says like, actually no, it is the Minister of Agriculture. Okay.
The one that I wrote.
Yeah, the Minister of Agriculture leans forward and says, crop production has been down 18% in the last quarter. We weren't able to figure out why, but morale would probably track with that.
I point at him. I'm like, this guy's got it.
The Minister of Trade opens up a folder. We have been getting absolutely, I've got to say, our competitors in the Eastern marketplace they've been able to undercut us by like 4%, and I gotta tell you, we are running numbers as thin as we can, and I think that they're just producing things of a higher quality, and they're able to like strike a better deal. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. And they just start like everybody slowly starts rattling off like corporate facts,
all these statistics and stuff,
and the Emperor is just like enraged. He's shaking.
I lean forward and I say, see, what you forgot, Emperor Assface.
Don't call me that.
These are people, not robots, not golems, okay? They're not my good friend Chappie here. Although, Chappie, I bet you would love to part of this. This golem, this is a party golem now. This is my party golem. And now even your own board is turning against you. So, ball's in your court now.
I'm going to ask you for a roll. This is going to be an opposed roll.
Okay.
As he tries to use one of his powers that is going to counteract one of your powers. But also he is in fact also not successful, which is perfect, so I can narrate the coolest ending possible.
Okay.
He leans forward and you see his hands start to glow in his eyes, and you feel the ripple of a word in use. And he says, "Guards, seize him!" And secret police flood the room, and they run at you, like they're running at you from behind, and they run past you, and they grab the Emperor, and they lift up the chair, and they bring him out. And that's the last time you ever see or hear from the Emperor of Efficiency. And you walk outside, and the streets are full of people, and they're partying.
Yes! I was gonna say, so I walk out on the streets, and it's just this huge rager, and I just come out with party foul over my head, and I just go, "Who's ready to party?"
The crowd erupts in cheers, and Chappie throws up his hands and starts whooping, and suddenly, in unison, all of the other security guards start whooping, and the crowd, like, they're throwing off their work hats, and it's just like champagne bottles are being popped, and it is a rager. Years from now.
Excellent.
Years from now. People will look to the day that Forge Smith raged as the start of nothing short of a global workers' revolution. Corporate overlords were toppled left and right. A new era began with one epic party.
Oh, yes. I've always wanted to smash capitalism with partying.
And that's game.
Yeah, only in tabletop RPGs can you truly do that. That was
I'm
excellent.
pretty happy with how that turned out.
No, that's great. I've had the idea for Kevyn the Totally Rad Party Wizard for a long time, and I'm really glad that he got to start a workers' revolution with one of his parties in my first soiree out with
It turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
Ian, thank you so much for coming on Party of One. This was a blast.
It was. Thank you again so much, Jeff. I've been listening to Party of One for a while now, and as soon as I started listening, I was like, yeah, I have to get on this show. So I look forward to, hey, maybe if this is a hit, we'll do it again in the future.
Maybe. So real quick before we wrap up, where can people find your work online?
You can find my podcast, Crit Heads, by searching the iTunes store for Crit Heads. We are on Facebook as just Crit Heads, and you can find us on Twitter. We are at Crit Heads Cast. That's pretty much our presence. Also, if you go to soundcloud.com/critheads, all the episodes are up there as well.
Awesome. Well, this has been super fun. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Ian for coming onto the show. That game was an absolute flipping blast. I loved it. Be sure to check out Crit Heads at soundcloud.com/critheads or on Twitter at CritHeadsCast. Then while you're on Twitter, follow this show at Party of One Pod, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/partyofonepodcast. If you really enjoyed the show, consider leaving us a nice iTunes review, a social media shout out, or a word of mouth recommendation. All three of those things help new listeners find the show, which helps us do bigger, better, and cooler things. If you really enjoy the show and want to support us, you can back us on Patreon at patreon.com/partyofonepodcast. And if you want to hear more from me, consider checking out All My Fantasy Children, the podcast in which Aaron Catano, Saez, and I take your listener prompts and turn them into beautiful, thriving, vibrant role-playing game children. You can find that at allmyfantasychildren.libsyn.com. Party of One is produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Rain featuring the D&D Sluggers. Technically, that's not true. Some of the music came from the song Wish Background by Kevyn MacLeod. Normally, all music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Rain featuring the D&D Sluggers. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates coming onto the show, or you just had a really great Labor Day weekend and you want to tell me about it, I would love to hear about it. Shoot me an email at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. Seriously, I hope your weekend was good. Well, that's it for me. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, y'all.